Ironman 70.3 Victoria 2023 edition. The Athlete Guide is finally up. So let's dive into the course specifics, insights, tricks, and tips for you for all things race day success. First thing that when we're scrolling down here, make sure that you head over to the Athlete Guide. That's what I'm referencing right now. We will be bouncing around from here and back and forth into a couple other areas to help identify some key areas for race day success. So make sure you read your Athlete Guide. It is very, very important. It is subject to change, and I'm sure that they will be reaching out if there are any changes in between now and then. But if not, make sure you head over to the athlete briefings on the race venue. Now, festivities kick off on that Friday, May the 26th. The park and ride shuttle service is active at 9:30 and goes till 8 p.m. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. Please do not park at the race venue. Park in those athlete parking lots. Now, athlete check-in 10 to 4. The open water swim registration is 10 to 5 right there. And there are a couple other things that you need to know of. You can also check in your bike today on that Friday, which is something really cool. And notice you will be picking up your timing chip when you do check in your bike, whether that is on that Friday or that Saturday. Saturday is the last day to check in your bike, and there is no athlete check-in on Friday. Notice athlete check-in 10 to 4 on that Friday, and there is athlete check-in 9 to 4 on Saturday as well. Sorry about that. Um, There's also a life sport clinic, a race nutrition and pacing strategies seminar if you wanted to go to that. Excuse me. On Sunday, this is the race day. Park and ride shuttle services exist from 4 to 5:45 in the morning. So note that or in the afternoon. So note that you will have opportunities to get to the race venue. Ample opportunities. They're going to have lots of buses transporting individuals, so don't get worried there. Transition does open at 4:30, so if you do arrive a little bit early, there is some potential to get there before the transition even opens if you are an early bird. The athlete age group rolling start will start at 6 a.m. with that transition closing probably 15 minutes before that. Other than that, it talks about the Ironman official stores open, post food tent, blah, blah, blah. Mandatory biking gear checkout 1 to 5 as standard, and 3:30 p.m. for all the podium chasers is the 70.3 World Championship slot allocation. Page 5, athlete check-in. When, where, and what to bring is all listed here. Photo ID, passport, active.com registration, QR codes are things you will need to get. Steps: when you do your athlete check-in, you're going to bring your active.com or QR code. Registration ID, you're going to bring your photo ID, sign-in waivers. You're going to sign the waivers there. You're going to also pick up your race packet, and then you're going to pick up some race swag, okay? Relay teams, we'll talk about that. I think it's on page 13 later on. The race packet will include your bib, bike and helmet stickers, swim cap, bike check-in out stickers, and also the athlete wristband, which you should put on immediately. Notice there is no timing chip listed here. It's because you will get it when you do check in your bike. Athlete wristband, wear it. It's going to give you access to all the specific areas on race weekend. Bike stickers, put them on your bike frame, helmet, bike stem, and then you have your 5 extra gear bag stickers, which they also tell you to write in permanent marker as well. Okay, so now pre-race info is on page 7. Parking shuttle service. They list a ton of times there will be no parking at the race venue. To make it a little easier for you guys, this is the main parking lot right here, this light blue one. Then there is an overflow lot, this light gray one, and then there's also an overflow lot, this black parking lot area right here. Shuttle services are drop off right through here, so if you are on one of these overflow lots, you will have a little bit of a walk to get to that shuttle service area, but that is what they're talking about when they are talking on page 7 about the shuttle service thing. On race morning, there is going to be no parking at the race venue. Use the shuttle service lots. They specifically say it a couple of times. Make sure you are parked in those areas so you can hit the bus and get there on time. Mandatory bike check-in. Athletes must check in their bike either Friday, the 26th, or Saturday from 9 to 4 p.m. Once there, you will pick up your timing chip when exiting the bike check-in area after you've dropped off your bike. So don't freak out if you do go and check in, just your athlete check in, and you do not get a timing chip. It's because you have to check in your bike first. Okay, there is a mandatory athlete briefing, which is on the event schedule if you wanted to go up there. And page 9, specific race day info. Again, your timing chip is not in your packet. It is picked up once you drop off your bike. Body marking, you will not need to do that. Aid stations, approximately 15 miles on the bike, 1 to 1.5 miles on the run. The bike's going to have the following offers through here, and the run is going to have the following offers here. Feel free to pause the video if you wanted to dive into those a little bit more. Race day info, like swim, bike, and run cutoffs are all on page 11. Wetsuit optional races if the water temperature on race morning measures above 76 but less than or equal to 83.8 degrees Fahrenheit or 28.8 Celsius. The race will be wetsuit optional. Okay, and you can choose to wear that and just forego your podium chances if you do that. Race finish and timing results. Right here, they talk about the disqualification or did not start area. Again, page 11. Relay info is located on page 12. Post-race info is on 13. And now, qualifying 16. Make sure you hit up that 3:30, I believe it was. Qualifying slot allocation if you are atop the podium or near the top of the podium in case you are looking for a roll down. So now let's back out and make this a little bit bigger so you can see. And now this is a pretty straightforward swim course. Is about the most straightforward you're going to see from a swim course on the Ironman circuit. We are going to start here, and something that you are going to notice is there is going to be a little bit of a run when you finish from the finish to the transition area. When we start out, we are going to be swimming pretty hard for this first little section right through here, and right around this point of our race is going to be where groups start to form. Okay, this first initial burst is what's going to typically happen. People are going to be going fast. It's fine, but make sure you realize who you are as a swimmer, right? And somewhere right through here, you set into your pace. If you are chasing a pack, make sure you hook on to that pack. But if you arrive in this area down through here and you are not on a pack, then you need to reevaluate your decisions and see if you can realistically hold that pace and also have a good race afterwards, or if you need to drop back a little bit more here. So normally the swim does spread out a bit through this area that I've highlighted a couple times right through here. That is going to be the area where you need to be on the group, or you are swimming solo or hanging back and dropping back for a bigger group that is behind you. Okay, if you are kind of alone, you find yourself without a group, maybe 1 or 2 other people here, I wouldn't really push the pace too much more than you're already going at that point, because you're just going to be in that no man's land that many athletes find themselves on a course like this. On the turn buoy right through here, you shouldn't have a whole lot of trouble here, or in reality, even on this one either, okay? By the time you get here, it is halfway through, so imagine about 1,000 meters into the swim right through there. So it shouldn't be super crowded. If it is, just remember you are turning a 90-degree turn to the right, okay? Don't overthink it. Turn to the right, keep swimming, swim 6, 7, 8 strokes, and then pick your head up and reevaluate, how has my turn been? Do not turn and immediately stop and see what's going on, okay? If there's people around you, it's not a bad idea to follow the people around you before you go back in. And here's where the course kind of becomes a little bit more technical here. And we're going to break this up into 2 little sections, and we're going to do that a little bit better so you can see it. This section right through here, this is going to be the last point in time where you can really put the hammer down if you want to, or what I would say, if you really need to. Okay, if there is no specific need for it in that section, I would maintain your pace and I would keep going. This other section right through here, this is going to be the point in time where you need to start kicking your feet a little bit more. You need to get the blood flowing back into your legs so you do not cramp when you get up out of the water. And believe it or not, that's pretty much the most technical aspect of this course. So expect a fast start, but you need to settle into your zone right around through here. Then once you make this turn, this is probably the last realistic point at which you can start to jump a group. But weigh the pros and cons. Is it really worth you expending a lot of effort to get out of the water a minute, maybe faster, maybe a minute faster? And then that last section right through there is going to be the point in time where you need to maintain your sighting, maintain your arm speed, just slowly increase your kick a little bit more so you're ready to rock and roll out of it. And believe it or not, that is the swim. Now, on page 19, there's some swim course rules that you can check out. They also list the wetsuit rules in case you are interested in that. Then, on page 22, this is our bike course. And again, it is a one-loop course. It's listed. You start off at this transition area, and you're actually going to go westerly, and then you're going to do a small loop right through here before you get onto the main circuit out through here. So technically, it is one loop, but I would break it up into two different other ones right there. So one loop course here. We are going to dive in on the best cycling app around. This is the Ride with GPS website here, and you can see that we have some things to talk about big time. We have about 300 feet of elevation gain. I don't know what that is in meters off the top of my head, but you can see to start out, we are going westerly, and we are going to have to, you know, put a little bit of effort down earlier than we want to. See, for those first 2.5 miles, we do have some substantial hills to climb. And in these first 2.5 miles, we have 300 feet of our 3,000 feet that we are going to be gaining through there. And again, it's going to come at a point in time where you don't really want to face these hills. So my best advice to you here is to just get up these hills. Power is going to be higher, sure, right? But you don't want to be smashing it right through here. If you are and you find yourself setting the world on fire like your Lance Armstrong back in the day, you need to back things off big time. Big time. Afterwards, for these next couple of miles, you are going to have a big chance to recover through here. Very flat from an elevation standpoint. There might be something else that we will talk about soon. But once you start to curl under, right, you start to curl back up north, we do have our first key to the course right through here. So this is a 9-mile section right through here, maybe a little bit less from miles 10.3 to 19.4. And in here, this terrain is chunky. There's two ways to ride this course, which is you get to the bottom of this hill and you're going nice and slow, and you turn these hills that aren't really massive into big hills. Definitely want to avoid something like that. So take these, the second way is to take these downhills and really build up the speed safely, of course, right? And use that speed to get up the hills easier, right? I'm not saying use the downhills go super fast, and then on the uphills go super fast on purpose as well. You know, you have to manage that effort, and you should be able to get up over these hills a little bit easier. They're not really long, right? They are about 0.1, 0.2 miles out there, so you can absolutely use the speed that you've gained over the course of the downhill to get up over some of these major hills right through here. The next two, I mean, that's going to be working on these first two hills. The next two, you're not really going to have that luxury. Okay, there is some chunk built into here, and we have our first real outstanding hill that we have at mile 12.7 right through here. It does kick up to about 4%, but then once it does get its steepest point, it does flatten off very quickly, and you will be diving back down again, and you will do some little chunky hills right through here, and then you are going to be popping up again, and this is our most steep course or most steep hills so far, where we have 5.5, maybe touching that 6% up on this uphill through here. You can see it on the map right through there. We're going to be passing our transition area almost right about this point, maybe a little earlier. So you just need to be careful on this big hill right through here, okay? And again, we can use this downhill to gain some recovery. We can also gain a lot of speed through here as well. Popping back up once we make our left-hand turn right through there. We do pop up pretty quickly, but again, if you look at this, it's not very aggressive. Yeah, it goes from miles 16.8 to 17.6, so we're going to have a little bit of a decent hill there. But again, it's 2.5, maybe 3%. So you're going to be in an uncomfortable gear. Chances are you are going to be at the top of your cassette wondering, should you muscle it out in that big ring, or should you go to that small ring up front and go back to your mid cassette in the back? I would suggest the latter. You don't really want to fight it, and you know, you're probably going to be going the same speed either way, and I always liked a little flexibility when I was choosing gears instead of just being locked at the top and hoping that the hill would end. Afterwards, going up to mile, 18.3, we have another big hill here, but again, it's really under 2.5%, so nothing major. And then the course kind of calms down for the next 6, 7, 8 miles through here from 20 to 27. and then it picks back up again. All right, this is going to be 5.5%ers mixed into this hill right through here, and you can see that is right at the top of Swartz Bay mixed into there. And just to show you what the hill really looks like, okay, again, you can still drive some of that speed in here. We do have a little bit of an uptick here, 0.6, 0.1, 0.5, and then once we make this little zigzag point right through here, we do go up the hill. And again, 5.5%, so you're going to be in that small ring for sure. Most people are. Okay, how you get up this hill is very dependent on you. I would suggest just getting up it and not crushing this hill at all. Okay, because you're going to have a quick downhill and then you're going to have some short, punchier hills mixed in throughout the next couple of miles from mile 30 to mile 37, 38. So you don't want to waste all your punch on that bigger one. That's going to be the hill that most people want to just go for it. And you're going to need to save some of that high effort for later on just because that terrain does it naturally for you. And now the last key to the course is this last big section right through here, this 18.6 mile section where we have 1,400 feet of our 3,000 feet of elevation. So all you math whizzes out there can show you or can see that you have about half of your elevation in this last section right through here. And it's no question that this is going to be one of the more tougher parts of the course. So you need to save a lot of the effort and the ability to drive some of these hills for later on. Okay, so keep that effort in your back pocket and save it for later because you are going to need it. And again, these hills aren't super aggressive, but you will find that they just keep coming, they just keep coming, they just keep coming. All right, the last hill, the last major hill that we're going to talk about is right at 47 and a half miles. And you can see here that it does go up to about 7% at a little bit, maybe a little bit over that. And again, this is going to be another one where you are going to have to be able to put the power out to get up and over. And I'm not talking about putting the power out to crush this hill, but putting the power out to really drive this hill within your limits is going to be essential. Turning around at the top, back down we go. And then we're going to do a couple more zigzags and back into town we go. We do have a couple 6%ers as you've seen there. But again, the very, very steep parts of the course are going to be pretty much over after you cross this section right through here. So that means we do have about 6 miles left after this point in time, and we do have some hills to climb again. This other last one going back up to the transition area. Just be careful with that one. That's going to be an area just like the swim where if you wanted to drive the pace, you absolutely could. It would be easy, but you have to weigh the pros and cons in doing that. Is it worth 30 extra seconds on your, or 30 less seconds on your bike split to totally have your legs blown up? This is a sucker's hill right through here. You're going to have a lot of people really, really driving this pace, and I would say why? Just be patient and get back to that transition area. At that point, you're going to want to be spinning your legs and getting ready anyways for, for the run. So now switching back to the bike really fast here, we got this one, and then we're going to talk about it again in another spot. But you can see that we have the first aid station is located right after that hill that we talked about down there. We also have another aid station located at the top right through here, and then one last one right through here. I would argue that all of these three are pretty much essential to hit. If you do miss a water bottle, stop and before you totally blow by the course. Because you just need something. Even if it's just to top off your fluids, you need something, and don't really blow by them and just ignore them. So this is the best bike split breakdown of a course here. My favorite thing to talk about is the wind, and you can see here that we have some wind coming from pretty much everywhere typically. So when we first start out, we are going to be experiencing a little bit of a crosswind from the right. Then when we turn down south, we do have a tailwind, which is going to be greeted with great joy. But then it starts swirling a little bit, and you do have a crosswind here. And then we go down, and again, tailwind before we turn up, and we have a headwind pretty much all the way up to the top. Okay. Once we do start to turn around, and you can see that's at mile 31 when it starts to turn around. So we have a long time with a headwind that could potentially hurt us. So a 9.5 all the way up to 31 and a half. So it's a good chunk of distance to have a headwind. And again, A lot of people are going to be suckered into that and are going to be really, really fighting the wind and really battling, and it's going to cost them later on. Once we do turn south, we do have some cross tailwinds, which is going to be great for us. A little bit of a headwind, but for the most part, this back section is on a tailwind. Before we make a turn up the big hill, we have a crosswind to the right, which is going to make it even slower, of course. And then when we go down our hill, we do have a couple zigzags, one more section of headwind before we turn right, and we have a tailwind back home. And again, if we do want to do a time analysis power area, and we bump it up 5% so you can see the areas where you are going to be saving the most. And remember, this is at 5%. So let's back this down. This is my favorite thing to do. Just a 1% increase, right? You can see here that the biggest areas of gain are saving you about a second and a half in most cases. So is it worth going a little bit harder? That's up to you. The biggest thing that you're going to have to battle out there on the wind, from an external point of view, you're going to have to, again, weigh the pros and cons. If it's shifting or swirling out there on race day and you just can't find an area, you might have to put power down a little bit in different places that's listed on your power plan, just because that wind is going to become such a factor for us at some points. So again, watch what the wind is doing, be aware of it, and then change your plan based off of that slightly. You don't have to put all your eggs into one basket, but one or two, sure, absolutely. If the wind is reversed, all this strategy is going to be reversed, okay? That is just going to be something that you're going to have to look at on race day and actively break it down for you as the individual and say, is this going to be beneficial to me? You should always be asking that. Is this beneficial to me in the long run? Okay. And now let's go back to our athlete guide. That was page 22, our bike course. You can see here that they do list the elevation gain, very, very similar to what we have. They have 830 meters. Bike course rules, page 25 and 26. Biggest one out there is you do have to, when you initiate a pass and enter someone's draft zone, you have 25 seconds to 25 seconds to complete that pass. If you do not, you will be hit with a blocking penalty. Okay. The bicycle zone is a 12-meter long zone measured from the leading edge of the front wheel of that front person towards the back of the bike. So that's 6 bike lengths clear of space between bikes. If you enter that zone, you do have 25 seconds to make the pass. If you fail to make that pass, you will be hit with a penalty. And again, look at where those penalty tents are on race day. There will be a map when you do check in. They will have them listed. So, make sure you are aware of where that is on race day. Page 30 has your bike store and tech info. Now, the run, which is a 2-loop course. This is probably going to be one of the first times this year that we have utilized the Ironman course as opposed to the other courses out here. So, this is saying this is what the course pretty much looks like, but that is not true. There is a little bit more action to it than that. That is the bike course. Switching back here. So this is our run course that we have, and you can see it's pretty chunky over here. We do have 190 meters of elevation gain, so it is no throwaway at all. Yes, it is around a lake, and yeah, it's, there is going to be some chunk to it, more than you want, okay? You can see that once we start our transition run right here, boom, the first 4K happens right here, the next 8K happen here. So this whole section over here, a little more open spaces, a lot less wiggling of the road, so it looks a little bit longer. Back through here, there's a lot more zigging and zagging to the road, so it looks like it's an optical illusion here, but in reality it's not. These roads are just straighter than these ones back here. Okay. For the first, let's talk about this in fours. For the first 4K, I would argue that you need to just find your legs and slowly start to build up to your race target zone. Okay. If you are having a great day and you think that your legs are feeling fine, fine. You can jump up a little bit quicker. And if you are having a little bit of trouble, I would slowly ease into things and really evaluate, hey, is my race target realistic today? If not, slowly slow it down and really find the pace that you can maintain according to what's going on. From 4 to 8K. Again, it's going to be a little more shady back through here. It's going to be a little bit more shielded from the elements a bit, not much, but a bit. And in this section, this is going to be where the bread and butter happens on this race course, on the first and also the second loop. Through this section right through here, it's going to be a little more crowded no matter where you are. There's just going to be more people around you. The atmosphere is going to be a little bit more energetic right through here. Then once you pass this transition area, this finish line area, it slowly calms down, and then it slowly ramps up through this section back through here. During this point in time, you should be hitting your race targets here. If not, you need to evaluate why. Okay, first aid station is going to happen right when you get out of there. I would argue that's an essential aid station to hit on the run. Next one's going to happen right over here, with the third one happening right down here on this out and back. We experiencing it on the first part of our out and back, and then we have one more through here. So we have a ton of aid stations to hit out here. If we're overheating, there's ample opportunities to cool yourself off. Do not speed through these aid stations. Get the resources you need. If you're cramping, figure out why. How much food have you had on the bike? What's going on with your race day nutrition? Actively go down your checklist. Are you going too fast? Are you going faster than you have ever gone in training leading up to this point? And if the answer is yes, that's an easy, you need to slow down. Now, from, let's call it 8 to this 12K right through here. 8 to 12K, this is going to be another essential section, just because a lot of that energy that happens in this area slowly starts to dissipate, especially after you get past the finish area. Once you start to get back over here, it's going to be all mental, and it's going to kind of eat at you in your head. Don't let those negative thoughts creep in. Only have one more lap. Let's do this. From 12 to 16K, again, that trend is going to continue through here. You're going to feel that you're getting closer, but in your mind you might be getting further, okay? Just maintain that positivity, keep going down your checklists, and then from 16 to 20, that's it, okay? So if you can pick it up from 8 to 16, that is going to be big key to the course. 4 to 8, yep, that's where you need to start be rolling here. From 8 to 16, that is the big keys to the course right through here. 8 to 16, that is going to be where you're going to be able to catch people. You're going to be able to pass people if you're having a good day. And then probably up until this last aid station right through here, you'll be able to kind of reel people in if you're having a good day. But after this point in time, they're going to be able to sense the finish. So if you are going to be coming up through the field on the run, know that you're going to have until this point right through here. So that is essentially the run in a nutshell right through here. We do have a lot of Red Bull stations if you're into that. And then also make sure that you are aware that there is an out and back section right through here. Do not speed through this turn or this section right through here. Make sure you are going the out and back. And again, there is some punch to these courses. So on these little uphill sections, they might not last for a long time, but they are going to be punchy there. So make sure during these points in time, if your legs are kind of on the edge, you are not crushing these things. Okay, if you need to walk, make sure you're walking on these little uphill sections. It might give your body a chance to recover a little bit anyways. On the downhills, if your body is close to cramping, you need to be very cautious on these downhills. Do not use the downhills for speed. Use the downhills to just get down a little bit faster than you normally would. Watch your running form. Do not let your legs carry out in front of you. And that is the run course wrapped in a little bow for you guys, okay? Watch your race nutrition, see what's going on, especially on the bike, and then feel it, and then go for it. Have a great day, everybody.